Welcome to Data Architecture Elevator podcast. Created by Agile Lab, we will explore the dynamic intersection of technology, innovation, and practices in the data space. Our company purpose is to elevate the data management game of companies that want to be data-driven, and this is the goal of this podcast too. For more information and insights, visit our website at www.agilelab.it. Feel free to reach out our architects on LinkedIn with your question. But now, let's step into the elevator with Agile Lab Data Architects. Today, we are going to discuss about data platforms, how they are evolving, how to design them, if there are relevant news in the landscape, and whatever it will come up. Okay, so it's not a structured interview, it's a knowledge sharing session. Okay, guys, welcome to this session. Maybe just to introduce the topic. Maybe we can have a brief definition of what a data platform is according to Agile Lab. We can discuss a bit about the definition, and then we will move forward. Who want to start?
I'll move this to start.
Yep. Zoom a bit more, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Well, I can try to give a definition. In my opinion, I'm working on data governance intensively in this period, and in my mind, having a data management paradigm is an umbrella for most of the data practices that you actually mentioned in this diagram. And for me, a data platform is something that actually matches the requirement for the data management paradigm to enable all the data practices that you mentioned, more and more also data practices that you mentioned in this diagram. That would be my definition, where a data platform is a means for an abstraction of anything that is enabling a specific implementation of a class of problem. In our case, the class of problem is in the area of data analytics or big data use cases.
Do you think is a data platform is more a technology or a practice or an abstract concept or a combination of all these aspects?
In the end, the data platform falls in a technology or a bunch of technologies, but actually I believe it's something more than a simple technology, because in the end, a data platform, it doesn't mean you have a specific technology in any case that we know. Big enterprises, they don't have a data platform as a single technology. So it is a combination of practices that want to encode into some technologies, but I will not make technologies drive the conversation. I would say that practices should drive the conversation, and then we should map the practices into specific technology, mapping our requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. Francesco, Andrea, do you want to add something in this?
Well, I'm quite. I do quite agree with Ugo. To me, platform is the outcome of set of choices that you make for serving your specific purposes. In fact, I'm more into thinking of data platform as a best of breed than prepared platform sold as a product, because very often you have specific needs that you have to take into account and to satisfy. And when you rely on a single vendor, the vision of the vendor is something that you have to accept as a whole, while very often you want to integrate specific products, specific approaches, and making them interoperate to reach exactly the vision that you have. So it's more a practice about discussing the goals and the requirements, and then selecting the best tools that you have, the best technology that you have on the market, and then integrating them in the best way, also the most usable way, most interoperable and most usable way, even in terms of experience for the user, to create a product that really suits your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, many customers ask us to design a data platform. What does it mean?
Yeah, if you want, I can add some perspective on my side. So, completely agree with the topics that was already expressed by you and Andrea. And when they ask us to design a data platform, this will involve several items and topics that we have to dive in. So mainly, the main things that we have to follow is several points that we have to break up. So for sure, we have to define the business objective and requirements. We have to assess the current state of the art, evaluate the existing infrastructure, and doing a data inventory. And then we have to design the conceptual architecture, select technology and tools. And when we go to the low-level design, the high-level design of the architecture, we have to think about several items that will build the complete puzzle of the data platform. For sure, we have to think about data ingestion. So we have to define methods for data ingesting data. We have to think about storage organization. We have to think about technology of data processing. We have to look at data management and governance, and we have to design for analytics and BI, and taking in account security and privacy of data. So mainly these are the pillars that I think we have to take in account while designing a data platform. Do you agree?
Yeah, agree. I think a data platform must have element that I cannot miss. It has to be technology agnostic, but I think there are some points that need to address. I repeat what you say: ingestion, engine to use, governance of data, lineage of data. I think that is element that we need to discuss to create a data platform.
From the list of Francesco, it seems to me that besides technology, we need to define standards. No? So the standards on how to do ingestion, how to secure the data, how to model the data. So all these standards are creating a kind of way of working that you need to put on top of your technology. Also being technology agnostic, I guess, in the conceptual design, in the logical design of the data platform, you need to stay technology agnostic for sure, but then obviously when you are wiring into the customer situation and landscape, in the low-level design, this design is going to become instead the technology specific. But yeah, so I would highlight that a way of working and a practice is crucial to become a real data platform. It's not just putting some technology there. Recently, we have seen the rise of or let's say the coming back of all-in-one platforms. So we are observing Databricks, Snowflake, Fabric, creating a full suite of capabilities that can cover basically most of the the rectangles that we have in this picture, no? Data ops, data governance, ingestion, computing, storage. So all these platforms are positioning themselves as the one-stop shop for creating a data platform. What is your view on this? And also, cloud vendors like Azure, GCP, how they are reacting to this movement.
You know what, Paolo? I believe that the key is what Frank was saying. I mean, start from business requirements of a specific company. This is the point where to start exploring which are the options on the market, technology that are matching the actual needs of, and probably, I mean, even if this is clear and trivial, starting from requirements, I would say that it's not trivial to see companies moving in a rational way toward action. I see a trend of following the mainstream. That probably is not necessarily the best things to do for every company. There are some, let's say, macro patterns, I would say, for big enterprises. Of course, working with high variety, working with thousands use cases, tens of thousands of data sets, bring to similar needs. But then when you go into the specific case, then you have specific business requirements. So we have seen this many times. Somehow our customers thrive with data sharing, for instance, because maybe they are fragmented across multiple companies in a big holding, while some others still working with data virtualization for several reasons, because they want to give final users a seamless interaction with data independently from data sources and technologies. So, I mean, the business requirements for me are the key to start exploring the data management paradigm, technologies we need to enable our company, or even they should be the driver for the data strategy, also in terms of organization, not only tools. And then the data platform is summarizing most of these concerns, and other actually comes out from the data platform because they are more organizational, but there is always the socio-technical interaction between the platform and organization. Key is business requirements, I would say.
As we said, there are many components that we define in a data platform. And having a system that gives you some of these capabilities simplify the provisioning of this tool. I don't know, for example, Fabrics, Databricks are a lakehouse-based platform. So we have our data lake, and then we can enable on top of this data lake some experience. I don't know, I need another data warehouse experience, or I need an analytics experience. And all this tool contains a catalog, for example, for a governance, and a tool to specify the data lineage. It is an accelerator, in my opinion, to create another data platform. Otherwise, we need to choose a specific tool to implement the catalog, another tool to the lineage, another for the governance, and need to create a distribution of the tool.
Yeah. It's also interesting to me to see that even if these platforms are going towards being the classic all-in-one platform, they are doing in a different way from the past. So they are embracing the coupling between storage and computing, they are opening towards interoperability standards, and they are adopting open standards to interoperate better with other tools and technology. So this is an interesting trend. Maybe you have seen the acquisition of Tabular and the fight about metadata catalog and metadata layers between Snowflake, between Databricks, in order to establish themselves in the iceberg story, so the open table format story.
Snowflake,
So
Polaris
to
embrace iceberg.
So how do you see this movement? Is this a step forward, or anyway, in the end, we will come back to having monolithic platforms not interoperating with other tools?
But if I can add something about this topic, I think interoperability is something crucial to keep in account, and I think that this standalone vendors like Databricks, Snowflake have understood that this is the main topic, this is the main item to enable the spreading and the spread of their kind of proposal in terms of technology. Platforms like Databricks and Snowflake are committed and dedicated to simplify the data processing, the data management within the landscape of the cloud environment by adding a high level of interoperability. So they are 100% focused in managing this kind of data, and I think currently is one of the best choice, because they are going to be open, interoperable, and at the same time they are going to leverage the full capability of the cloud, and they are going to add operational efficiency while using the resources that are, let's say, exposed by a cloud vendor. Because, using cloud technology in a standalone way could be very challenging from the operational perspective. So anyone can spin up an EMR cluster and, let's say, doing their data pipeline. This is very simple, but when you come to being cost-effective and efficient, this will lead to a very challenging situation. Databricks, Snowflake are going to mask this kind of complexity, and also they are open for interoperability. So this is what I think.
Can I add something? I mean, there is another key point, in my opinion, that is that the current cloud storage offer is very cheap, and so there is a trend of flooding data from monolithic systems, traditional ones, and only one's platform from the past, to spend less money, and having all this data and shareable storage is a for companies to choose between different platforms, and it's like this is bridging the need for all those only one's platform to share this market of offloaded data, and the reason why they are opening to open table formats probably is to address this kind of niche, where that is no longer niche. I would say it's the current normal.
I think interoperability is crucial for them also because these big players cannot be at the top of the competition in every single component. So if we think, for example, to ELT, data ingestion, reverse ETL, there are so many niche components in a data platform, and these big players cannot be the best in every part. So I see what Andrea and Francesco were saying. So these big platforms are for sure an accelerator to implement a data platform, because they are removing a lot of complexity, but at the same time, in many specific areas, maybe you want to onboard some best of breed tool to have more automation or to leverage specific capabilities. And this is becoming possible if we have an open backbone at data level. So I see we are going in the right direction on this. For example, how do you see data quality, data integration, master data management? Are these capabilities? Do these capability needs additional tools on top of big vendors or not?
In my opinion, I think yes for data quality. I don't find any excellent tool inside this vendor that for the data platform, for example. Instead, for the data catalog, I see a lot of improvements in the data catalog that exist, for example, in Databricks or in Azure as a preview. Maybe not is at this time excellent, but I see a lot of improvement. But in data quality, in my opinion, I don't see a tool good for this. So I think that is better use an external tool.
Probably only Microsoft is trying to close this gap with the Purview data quality, but I think it's still falling behind a very established solution in data quality. Also, the data catalog topic is important. It will be very hard for this big vendor to challenge established players and really focused player like Atlan, Collibra, and many others playing this game since 10 years. So it will be very hard for them to close this gap. Also in terms of investment and speed of innovation and so on. But yeah, they are all of them. They are trying to close this gap. I see, and that's interesting. Yeah. Maybe
I can add another things about this.
Sure.
For example, in a data catalog, in open source world, I know to catalog open metadata and data hub project. There is a good tool, but in my opinion, not at the level of other tool, other enterprise tool. Instead, in table columnar format, for example, Iceberg data lake, in the open source world, we have a lot of good open source tools. For example, Delta Lake in Community Edition or Apache Iceberg. So why in the catalog, in your opinion, we don't have a tool with the same potentially of enterprise tool?
Someone want to answer? Otherwise, I can go.
Because the catalog, it is a pillar important in data catalog structure.
Yeah. Well, I think open source is working until a certain scale. So very successful open source projects are focusing on something that is really narrow and specific. Data catalog is requiring, in order to build a successful data catalog, it requires huge investments, and data catalogs, at least for the state of the art, they are really relying on user experience. That is something where open source projects are not really good at. It's very hard to find an open source project with an astonishing user experience in terms of UI and so on, because it requires huge investments. And also connectors. So data catalogs are relying on connectors to harvest data. So it's, again, is not really focused for an open source project to invest on hundreds of connectors. So, for example, Data Hub and Open Metadata or whatever, they are great tools. They are baked by, anyway, a company in the end that they offer an enterprise version. So it's very hard that you will find an open source data catalog without an enterprise behind. Instead, when you work on foundational elements like open table formats or processing engine like Spark, Flink, and so on, that they are not user-facing tools. They are tools for engineers, and they are really focusing on specific components. It's easier to be more successful. The data catalog is an enterprise level tool, so it requires a lot of different capabilities that cannot be driven by an open source community.
But also, probably, is it possible, just as an open question, that catalog really matches with the data governance in the mindset of data governance practitioners, and I believe that in general in enterprise companies who works in data governance is less than who works in data processing, for instance. And so is less people concentrated on a tool, where the tool user experience, as you are saying, it's actually crucial to make this bunch of people working very well. And also having the capability to govern data through, dashboarding, rules, compliance, or stuff like this gives them, what I see that commercial tools are provide this kind of visibility in governance. It's on the average much powerful than more powerful open source tools, and so probably this is the shift for enterprises to commercial tools in this case. Given that connectors is also a point, because enterprises works with how many technologies? Hundreds.
And also legacy ones. So
also legacy ones, yeah.
Good. Following on this topic about user experience. Yeah, we were talking about user experience of data catalog, but also user experience of a data platform is important. If you move on the Gartner picture, the one with the circles, no.
The one?
No, on the left.
On the left, on the right.
The left, this one. If you can zoom a bit, So I have three topics in mind. One is how generative AI is going to change the user experience in the data platform. We have seen the new capabilities of Databricks and Fabric, but I think very often these capabilities are a bit fighting with data ops and platform engineering principles, because it seems that the more you automate and you facilitate the end user, and the more they diverge from a very good DevOps life cycle. If you look at Fabric and Databricks, it seems that you can create reports and dashboard working with production data, okay, and put them in production very easily. You create the report, bam, and you deploy it, and it's done. On the other side, I see instead, for example, Gartner, that is stating that the crucial operations for data management are these three. So data ops, so creating a structured process for operating with the data, platform engineering to automate and govern the infrastructure and the application management, and FinOps to keep costs under control and educate people about cloud spending. These three elements are really focusing on structuring a practice that I strongly believe in. On the other side, we have generative AI that is making everything simple and immediate, and you can create incredible stuff with low effort. But it seems to me a bit fighting with these three principles. I don't know what is your opinion, if they can coexist in some way or whatever.
If you want, I can give you my perspective on this. So everything depends on how you are going to use the generative AI tools. So, I mean, in the prototypization phase, I think the AI is a very good choice in order to create something that is very quick and direct and also usable, maybe for prototyping purpose. So I think if you're going to use GenAI in order to enhance your capabilities, is something good. And also it should be used for suggesting also best practice to and be interoperable with the other practices that you mentioned before, for example, in data ops or FinOps initiatives. Maybe you can imagine a world when an intelligent agent can also propose some cost optimization and for the FinOps practice automatically. And I mean, the approach is always a human in the loop. So there is also always a human that is going to validate the proposition made by the artificial agent. So if we go in this perspective, in this direction, I think everything can coexist, and we will lead to something better in order to have a better data management practice. This is what I think.
So basically you say generative AI for fast prototyping, possibly in a secure environment with governance on data and so on, but then adopting these three best practices in order to operationalize the life cycle of data products and data and whatever it is.
Yes, I agree.
Andrea, Ugo, do you have other views on this?
I was thinking that actually, let's say the area of platform user experience is not very well explored. At least there is not too much literature on it. There are no very clear best practices. We actually work actively on user experience for developers when building and designing a platform. We are making clear idea, at least internally. But I believe there is a gap between what the perception of the market in the area of platform user experience, if this is a term, against the ability and the perception of simplification that the GenAI proposes. There is no experience in the middle, and GenAI is going to give the feeling that we can do everything in a simple way, but there is no experience how to do this simple for developers, for instance, because in the middle there is no big exploration. We have plenty of platforms. A cloud vendor, a cloud service is a platform that is abstracting from complexities, providing tools to build out-of-the-box things. When we build a data platform, we are trying to abstract on top of it to provide a better user experience in terms of development from one side, and a faster time to market for data consumers. In building a better developer experience, I'm not sure that there is this great experience for data platforms, and probably commercial platforms like Snowflake, Databricks, they are investing a lot in this user experience, but in a way that is super specific. So they are trying to move all the user experience to something that is a service more oriented to the consumption layer rather than the layer underneath.
Instead of supporting who is building the use cases and the data products, they are supporting more the consumption, the insight, so how people can get new insights from the existing data, but not supporting enough, let's say, the data product creators or something like this.
I see like GenAI is patching the need for content more than for practices.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrea, you're mute.
Yeah, sorry. I do agree with Ugo. Also, the consumption of data and information at large. Also, for unstructured data, there are organizations that have huge libraries of documents, like, for example, regulatory normative text that they have to digest and be familiar with. And integrating this kind of technology in that step of the process is very useful for those who are going to use the data platform to operate on it. For example, browsing a huge library of documents to get the proper way of replying to a customer, or also operating some decision, can be very such a burden for the final operator, and having support in that phase from generative AI can be a huge booster for the final customer. So it's something that we can successfully introduce in an architecture in the consumption layer, I think.
Clear. Regarding FinOps, that is it's another practice. It's important to highlight that FinOps is a practice, but I see an increasing attention to cost management and cloud spending. So on one side, we said, okay, these big data platforms are becoming fully managed, serverless. You can create computing resources in seconds and be operative. On the other side, all this stuff has a cost. Do you see someone thinking back to go on-premise, cloud repatriation or stuff like this? Do you see the cost has a driver right now, or they are still focused on achieving results, time to market, be effective on that initiative? So is there more focus on the value that we can generate from the data, or more attention on the cost that is needed to generate such value? Well, you work on several large enterprise, so maybe you can have different perspectives on this.
I would say, Paolo, it really depends. Depends even within a company. I mean, depends from the period, it depends from management, it depends from the investments. I believe probably is a loop. It's like in a certain moment, the company is in the status of don't care about money and care about results. And so you start spending, you start opening data with everyone and data processing, whatever, because you want to get results as possible. Then you have a great increase of money or spending in the company that start reaching, a crucial point where people get afraid of the spending, and then there is the saving stage of the loop where a company start optimizing whatever they are doing for several reasons. Is cloud spending, and then they start closing here and there. Unexpected spending from bad practices. FinOps is far from being a major practice at the moment. I would say it's a very far from being a major practice.
Also because probably I read the FinOps book from Aurelie, probably, I don't remember, and was saying one clever stuff. So FinOps will become mainstream, and you will need to set up a FinOps practice when the cost it will become a top priority.
Yeah.
So until cost is not a top priority, FinOps will fall behind probably. That's why I was asking what is your perception on your customers. And
I am less optimistic, to be honest, meaning that when you reach the crucial point where a company realize spending too much, if you didn't put in place a practice of FinOps that is closely tied to developers, okay, you are centralizing cost management anyway, and then you will start closing blindly to everyone excess of spending. Then from to where you are opening in a controlled way to specific area of the company, or even development teams, there will be another period of maturity where you need to establish a practice of FinOps. FinOps is not very easy. Even if it's powerful, it's not very easy to introduce, because it means that you are doing from instrumentation, application monitoring to observability of cost management decentralized. It's not only organization, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't plan for it, and then at a certain point you realize that you need to take care of cost management, and you didn't set up a practice for it, then you're going to be in trouble. But yeah, this is the same for platform engineering and data ops. If you go straight in using tools without setting up practices and operations. Then when you need to evolve the platform, when you need to automate the platform and so on, you're going to be in big trouble. But Andrea, Frank, do you see attention on this topic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. So what I think about FinOps practice, I think it is a good practice. So as you already mentioned, so the main problem is the cost, and the cost will become a problem on the cloud if you don't take it under control. So FinOps is something that you need in order to being in control and also operate within the life cycle, inform, optimize, operate within a specific organization that is opting for the cloud adoption. So it's something you have to have within your pocket in order to have a better organization of what you're doing on the cloud. Because if you spread the practice, you will for sure operate within the cloud in an efficient way. And for sure, I believe it's a poor decision to move back to on-premises. Because if you're going to plan and do the things in the right ways also in the cloud, you will not lose the opportunity to stay on the edge of the technology. So let's say having the possibility to take unlimited storages, new services, AI capabilities, marketplace, sharing data, and so forth. So this is what I think. For sure, it's a new practice that should be kept in consideration. It also requires an organizational shift, because the cloud spending capabilities should be exposed to all the teams that should take ownership of the piece of the cloud they are developing. But it will be hard, but every step make forward in this direction is something that is crucial and beneficial for all the organization and the data practice management and the IT practice management within the cloud. This is what I think. I don't know if Andrea wants to add something about this.
Yeah, I think the process as the moment it is as follow for the customer that I see. When you do the architecture study with price calculator, study the cost, and you have in mind an estimate for that architecture. You don't talk about cost anymore, except when you have the task of improving the cost at the end of the project, or when you are overrun the cost. In my opinion, it is important to anticipate the task of the cost. Otherwise, you only find at the end of month, let me see how much you spend. And I think that we set up an FinOps practice, and in our automated provisioning pipeline, we also had the cost impact of the change would be a great value for our customers. So if I change something in my pipeline to provisioning and stuff of infrastructure, and in this moment I have the impact of the cost of this change, I think that is a very good practice of FinOps, and then this can create value for our customer.
Clear. Andrea, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's also very related to the kind of initiative that you are bringing on, because, for example, in a data mesh approach, you need for sure the flexibility of the cloud, because you can't plan in advance all the deployed resources that you're going to use for creating the old data mesh, because it's an ever-evolving scenario. So for example, data mesh is something that you can't repatriate, in my opinion, to on-premise resources, because you need the flexibility and the capability of the cloud to absorb also computational peaks, and to being able to provision resources continuously and deprovision them when you retire data products that are no longer used. So it's something that is really hard to think outside of the cloud, especially on big organizations, which, by the way, are the ones that are embracing data mesh. Of course, adding FinOps is something really crucial, because when you start really small. You do some POCs, you create some tens of data products, and everything is easily under control, because the expenses are very very low. But when the data mesh initiatives start to really deploy, you have a lot of consumption. So having an integrated FinOps practice is really important, and it's something that very often in the beginning is not so perceived, because you start small and then grow out. So it's something that is hard to implement at the beginning, because people do not really perceive the need, in my experience. So it's something that you perhaps add in a second or third moment, while the consumption of the cloud starts to be more evident and needs to be taken under control.
Can I make a joke, Andrea?
Great.
The little joke is that I don't know why data engineer and software engineer are the few professional in the world, the few professional engineer in the world that are not accountable for spending when designing a data use case. And probably this is the reason why use case data engineer don't really care about cloud spending since the
Good. We are on top of our slot. So thanks for participating to this session. We will come back in, I guess, a couple of weeks with another episode of this. Thank you.